Hi everyone, welcome to this live stream. As you probably read in the description, um, by the time you watch this, as I link this up to some of the Facebook group pages. By the time you watch this, um, I will. It's about 4:36 p.m., almost time for the All-Star game. But I wanted to do this as quickly as I can, or as best as I can. And like I said in the description, basically there's a lot of reasonings as to why this might be, a decent live stream, but a lot of stuff, a lot of factors may come into play, if you know what I mean. So let you, I just want to let you guys know that right now. Um, I just want to let you guys know that right now that some things may, come into play, hey, down the line, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I link this up to the various Facebook group pages here, and that's going to be our main picture that you're going to look at doing this. Yeah, we're going to talk about some, just talk about some Sonic stuff and all that. Just, you know, little discussion, live stream, if you know what I mean. I know a lot of people are preparing for the All-Star game, and as well as preparing for the season slash series finale of Loki. So I can understand, that a lot of people are, waiting for those moments, if you will. But I want to, like I said, just take this time today and do this little live stream as best I can. And as it says in the description, there might be some interruptions, like, the internet might conk out or something, if you will. It might conk out. Like right now, it's even saying, hey, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So, yeah, it's one of those situations, but I think it'll straighten itself out. I think it'll straighten itself out over time. Again, I think it's mainly the because it says it's good here, so it just might be the fact that it's delayed right now. Um, but anyway, yeah, I just wanted to come on here and do a little talk, do some talking about, mainly about the Sonic, about some Sonic and all that. Just, you know, get out of the way. But like I said, there will be probably some interruptions, not just like the internet and all that, but interruptions like my mom might call me and all that and say, hey, I need this, I need your help with this and that, and it's just one of those situations. Or she might talk to me from behind the door, like, hey, just talk about stuff. Like yesterday when I was doing my package opening video, she about 5 minutes in started talking. I just let it go. I was like, okay, I can't help that. She's just, oops. She's just gonna let me fix that there. She's just gonna do what she wants to do because she. I'll put it this way: she's learning, but she still hasn't like grasped a lot of the you know technology, if you will. Like hasn't grasped the idea of, oh, people do live streams, or and I can't interrupt them if they're doing that, or they're doing recording, and I can't interrupt them if they're doing that. And it's understandable. Not a lot of people kind of grasp, what's going on, and it's perfectly fine. You learn every day. Is basically what it is. You learn every day, and you know, you just you just go with the flow, if you will. Um, this explains basically why at times I would like that one video live stream I did. I think it was the live stream with the waifus and all that. The tier maker, the tier list that I was doing with the waifus for what was it? It was it was something. It was one of my tier makers. I don't know if it was the MLP one or if it was. Oh no, it was the Sonic Girls waifu one I did, and I ended up yelling a little bit because it's like, okay, it's like, what does she want? And just one of those situations. So like I say, you just gotta, excuse me, you just gotta work around it. You can't, you can't, you can't basically, you can't basically throw it off, if you know what I mean. You just gotta work around it, and so you just gotta, like I say, you just gotta work with it. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to come on here and do some Sonic discussions and all that. Just talk about stuff, as best I can. Because right now my mom's watching a movie, so that kind of helps out a little bit. And then she's gonna probably watch the All-Star game and just make some food later. She's gonna make some food later and all that, so. So yeah, try to link this to some places. So, there we go. Or let's check the thing. It still says it's a little low. I don't know why, but hopefully it's okay. Let's check the thing. Yeah, it's on there. Apparently. So like, let me check something. Hold on. And it's on there. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like I said in the description, just wanted to, talk some Sonic stuff today, if you will. If you don't mind, as I double check here. Yeah, just wanted to just do some Sonic discussion and all that. And of course, one of the first things I want to talk about is, as you may have noticed, basically one of the more recent videos I did, but it was actually a live stream that I did, where I showed you what my photo bucket page looked like. And I've had that for, as I drink some Pepsi there. I've had that photo bucket page for literally, at the end of next month, literally about 16 years. And I started that photo bucket page back when I lived in Kansas, and a majority of that has a lot of Sonic on there. And one of the things you saw on there, of course, and if you will, one of the things you guys saw was the fact that, as I bring it up again, or best I can, and I do apologize for any stream interruptions or any interruptions, period. As you can see, this is when I last uploaded to it. This is the last day, almost 7 years ago. Actually, almost 8 years ago, in 3 days. But basically, this is just a lot of the stuff I had. It was basically a secondary area along with DeviantArt that allowed me to post a lot of stuff. But also, as far as videos were concerned, it was a place for me to upload videos because at that time, well, you don't see the videos here, but at that time, in 2006 anyway, that's what most of the videos are. I wasn't on YouTube until the end of that year when I found out, oh, you can use a different email account to get a new account going, and that's what I did. Now this time frame right here, you can tell June 5th or June 3rd. This is about around the time, I think it was about June 2nd. I think actually, yeah, I think it was on June 2nd, June 3rd, when I first got the Sally plush, which I still have. I still have the Sally plush and everything, but it was around this time frame right here that I ended up getting her because you know people were saying, well, check on eBay, you might find it, and I found one on there, and I saw how many days it was, and each day I kept, each day, each night I kept going and going and going, and then finally, I think I got recent, I think I had gotten recently paid by my job, which was the Walmart in Lawrence, Kansas, and I ended up almost at the last second, almost the last minute, last second, if you will. I ended up winning her. I put in the highest bid, ended up winning her, and that's how I got her. So God was on my side that day. It's like, hey, get it. And then right here, this is basically around the time they released or getting ready to release. Oh, sorry, my finger hit the mic there. They were getting to release. My thumb hit the mic again there too. They were getting to release the series completely on DVD via Shell Factory, and here's we pop it up here. This was actually this is the second picture I took. Let me bring up this one. Yeah, this is the first picture I took. This is when they started getting the DVDs in at my job. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the one of the original boxes they came in, and this is like a day before they were officially distributed and released onto well, not distributed and released, but distributed and released to be sold is what I'm trying to say. And then this is when I got it and everything, and that was what the last live stream was. I was showing basically what this page was about, the 15 to 16 years I had of it, but also kind of looking back and showing you exactly when I got it. This is when I did get it. This is the day I got it. I got it during a midnight release because the Walmart I was at was 24 hours, 24/7. So I was able to get this at midnight when it came out. That was the one of the perks about working at a 24/7 Walmart is you got a midnight release. So that was pretty cool. And then that's how they were displayed. This is basically how they were sold. So that's the initial price right there. And then there it is right there amongst Thomas the Tank Engine set and Care Bears. We had a bunch of Sonic right there. And then this here, these are both new ones. I think this is the one I first got, and then this was the second one I got. I got a variety of them, and some I sent out to various people. Like, I think I sent one or two to my family in California. Like, I sent one to my oldest nephew, if you will, for his birthday. I sent one to I think my cousin who's 2 years older than me, and then I sent one to I think I sent one to Jay Foxfire because she had done some stuff for me, as well as I sent one to Raphael XD because she had helped me out with the VCDs of the show, if you will. So I bought a lot of them and sent a couple of them to, like I said, family and all that to have, the family and friends to have. So yeah, it's a great look into the past, if you will. It's a great look into the past, and again, it's it's hard to believe as I check something here real quickly. I do apologize for a second. Hold on. I do apologize for all that, but yeah, that's basically it's base that's basically how far the photo bucket goes, even to the point that I have images on there when I first got the Saturday box set, and not just before I got it, but when it was first, delivered to the store to be put on the shelves for retail. So, yeah, I just wanted to, yeah, so yeah, what I did is I did that live stream, and then I took that, well, I was talking about the Saturday box set, and then I took the um, other part where I was talking about the salad plush, and I kind of clipped them, if you will. I went to Cyber Power Director, which I'll show you right here. If it pops up, hopefully no interruptions. But yeah, I used this right here, Cyber Power Director 14. I don't have 365 yet, but I'm sure people will tell me to get that. But I used Cyber Power Director to, essentially, basically clip those two parts out of the out of the equation, if you will, clip them out of the equation and make them their own video, kind of like some of the people I follow here on YouTube do, like John Campia, who's currently doing a low-key live stream, low-key pre-game live stream right now, as well as Alex Six, just Alex. They would take little parts out of the videos that they felt could be their own individual videos, so that instead of looking through the entire video, this entire live stream, if you will, for that specific part, you would have it right there. So that's what I did with it. That's what I did, and yeah, basically, like I said, that those images, those dates right there, that is exactly when all that went down. So so yeah, like I said, having the photo bucket was really cool to see, and it really got me in the mood too because I decided to relink because it was already here on my channel, but I decided to relink my Doomsday Project fan made movie that I did years ago that I finally put up on YouTube around September or October of last year. I decided to relink it onto the various Sonic pages that you saw me link this live stream to, um, mainly for the fact that I wanted to, I just wanted to share it with them and everything. I just got in the mood to do that. And then, of course, one of the other Sonic SatAM things that I just recently uploaded was something that I did in two parts back in 2011, and I think that was around the time where I think I had gotten a copyright strike for about 60 days or something. I can't remember. And when you get those strikes or something like that, it limits you. So either you can't do live streams or you can't do full-fledged, unlimited on time, that is, videos. You can't do those or upload those to YouTube, so you have to kind of divide it and then put a playlist together. And what I did is I downloaded those two parts of my fan slash shoot commentary that I did in 2011, and I uploaded that here well, what I did is like I said, I downloaded the clips. I downloaded the two parts, pieced them together using the Cyber Power Director, and then uploaded it here to YouTube. And what's crazy about it is you would think, hey, it's your voice, you're commentating, but yet they still copyright it. It's the same thing that I think when I did a video using footage from SatAM, but it was like, on the left of me in like a little box. Basically, that shows you that it doesn't matter how you use the footage, your video is still going to get claimed, one way or another. The silver lining is at least your video is still playable, you just won't make money off it. And I've come to the conclusion basically that, as I've said before, if you're not the person that makes the video, if you're not the person that basically like say if you're not the person that makes the video, or not makes the video but makes that copyrighted stuff that you're using, if you will, then you don't have the right to utilize it. You don't. Um, as much as that irritate, as much as that irritates a lot of people, you know, these studios, record labels, you know, these studios, these record labels, these TV networks, these publishers, game publishers, they have the right. They have all the right to say that, or to do that, because they're the ones that put in the hard work and the effort, not you. All you're doing is saying, "Hey, I'm gonna use that music, or I'm gonna use that footage for whatever project, even if it's in fair use." Even though you believe that it's in fair use, you know, they're gonna have the right to say, "Yeah, it's in fair use, and we agree on that." But guess what? We're the ones that put our hard work into it, so you're not going to be the ones that benefit from it financially. We are. So yeah, it's kind of so it's kind of strange to um, as I lower that a little bit. I have I have my Xfinity security app on, and so I'm viewing the living room right now because that kind of helps me out, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, basically, like I was saying, it's kind of funny that you do a fan commentary. Like Find the Computer Room did a commentary at one point. It's kind of funny that, and various others have as well. But it's kind of funny that you do a commentary, and yet you can't make money off it, because even though it's your voice that's over the footage, it's the footage you're using, which is kind of weird, but it's understandable. It really is. It's kind of like what I did with Secret Adventures. So basically, somebody had uploaded, uh, the animated segments to the Secret Adventure series, and I basically downloaded that, edited out the beginning, the intro, and the intro and the outro, if you will, that person had put on there before the animated segments began. And even though you would think that since Star Tunes is no longer in business, there wouldn't be no issue, right? Well, apparently there's a musical issue, but it's claimed by somebody that's by the name of Who Done It Music or something like that. Ad rev for third party Who Done It Music, Who Done That Music or something like that. I don't know. Hopefully it might get straightened out, because that label sounds a little suspicious, if you know what I mean. But anyway, getting back on point. Um, but yeah, getting back on point here. Basically, I uploaded a full uncut, pieced together um, version of the fan shoot I did back in 2011. And what my fan slash shoot was, or my fan shoot commentary was, for Doomsday Project, just that episode, was me just giving my thoughts, just shooting straight on, just saying whatever came to mind at that time on the episode, how it came to be, where, why this was happening and everything. So I felt just, doing it that way was more natural, if you will. And I think a lot of people would agree that if you just let you be you, that it'll be easier to do a lot of to do these kind of commentaries or whatever. So that's what I did. That's what I did. Those are the two Sonic related uploads that I did recently. Well, the Doomsday one was back in September, but the Sonic one recently, kind of new, kind of remastered, full uncut, pieced together. The newest one was the full uncut version of my fan shoot, if you will. And then, of course, I uploaded a lot of, re-uploaded a lot of fan vids that I did back in the day, back in 2006, 2005. Did some recently as 2007 when I was out here, and even before then. And what's funny is I understand that a lot of the music that I utilized in those videos, or in those fan vids, if you will, like for example, let's see which ones I have. Like like let's see, I'm looking through it right now. Like, never gonna let you go, step up, right now, my time is now, um, live and learn, this fire burns, when you believe, healing rain, I made it, stronger, say the word, independent woman, you are not alone, the way you make me feel, dreams to dream, um, I just can't stop loving you, I didn't know my own strength. I mean, I know that those are all songs that will will be utilized by a lot of people, and that even though people utilize them, um, that the videos will still be playable, but it just won't make money off them. So I understand that. But there was one that I put up here, which, just like with a video that's premiering tomorrow, more of a 4K upgraded version of the video. I used the song "Fighter," which is by Candle Fuse, I think, and I was like, I'm thinking, okay, that's gonna get copyrighted, the song at least. It wasn't copyrighted. It was not copyrighted, and neither was the footage that I was using, which is kind of weird, right? You know, the Sonic SATAM fan bid that I said was upgraded to 4K, done in 2007. It's like it wasn't copyrighted for the footage, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? And my thought process on it, and the same with "Goodbye My Lover," which is something I downloaded from the photo bucket page, which was a Sonic and Sally fan vid I did at the time. I even said this in the description that was, I had done that at the time when in the comics, um, they had broken Sonic and Sally up, and I just decided to go that route because I knew what the message of the song was giving was, goodbye for now, but we will be back together. Oh, and just to correct myself, I should say, on the two things I uploaded. The Sonic SATAM Doomsday Project fan shoot commentary, full and uncut. That's kind of a new thing I put up there because it's just the two parts that I uploaded back in 2011, pieced together as one. But I also put Bunnie Rabbot kicking wild Robian butt from Archie Sonic issue 119. It's basically when Bunnie gets captured and she's about to be taken out, or at least the capturers, if you are trying to take her out with these wild, I think mindless Robians, and she just kicks a lot of butt in that one and just fights her way out. And then, of course, like I said, the two clips, I should say, the two exception clips for my live stream on the photo bucket page. When I was talking about photo bucket page, anyway. But yeah, those, but yeah, basically, it's kind of strange because you know, "Goodbye My Lover" is on that sharing monetization to where you could share it, or where the monetization, I should say, is being shared by you and whoever is claiming it. But the final one, which like it's really surprising that that's not been copyrighted yet. Not saying it won't be, but it's still kind of crazy because you would think, well, you're using SATAM clips, but I think what's going on is that the clips I used back then when I did that song, and it was done in 2007. I think that was before. I think that was around. Yeah, it was done in 2007. I think that was before around the time I got the box set officially, but I still utilized the VCDs that Rafaela XD, who went by the website name of Kaifu, it's Kaiffu, and I think it's because she put her website's name on the bottom, if you will, that I think it kind of helps out a little bit, as well as the intro of the intro for the fighter fan vid has retro junk on the bottom as well. So it kind of makes you wonder if a lot of things come into play that's preventing, maybe Wild Brain from doing the copyright. Not saying they won't, but still, it's really interesting to see that. And I think a lot of people write about this when they bring it up on in the videos that YouTube, yeah, no offense, But they, along with any other video uploading site like Dailymotion or Vimeo or BitChute or even Facebook and Twitter themselves, they really need to work on their algorithms and the copyright deals because, you know, they gotta basically work it out to where it's like, okay, you know, if you're copywriting this, then what's going on here and stuff like that. But yeah, it's but yeah, those are some of the things I recently did, and there's going to be more to come. Like I said in one video, there will be more to come due to the fact that I have to give you content somehow besides just the premieres I set into motion weeks ago. But besides that, getting back more into the Sonic discussions, I was talking about, one of the new videos I put up yesterday, which was, Bunnie kicking some royal Robian butt, I should say. Bunnie Rabbot kicking some royal Robian butt. Um, what's interesting is one of the people I linked this live stream to, Josh Sonic, on Twitter. He, he actually did something. He actually started something called Stephen Butler Appreciation Week. And the reason he said that is because when you look at what Stephen Butler did in the Archie Sonic comics at the time, it's truly amazing. I mean, he basically matured from his designs, if you will. He basically matured the characters from a physical standpoint. He matured them from a physical standpoint and made them really stand out. And a lot of people felt that him drawing at that time was, the him drawing at that time was one of the best errors artistically for the comic. And Dust Bunny, the with a clip with that video of Bunnie Rabbot kicking wild Robian butt comes from, is a prime example of that. I mean, I know that Steven, sometimes people criticize him for sexualizing Sally and Bunnie too much, and true, he did kind of do that. But you know what? If you're going to try to make this comic not just for young kids, but for all ages, especially those that are growing up with the comic, maturing along with the comic, then you do what you got to do to go along with that, to evolve with that, and I think that's what Stephen Butler did. And sometimes, depending on who he was paired with, from a writing standpoint, in a way, despite how you might feel about someone like Penders or someone like Bowlers or even Flynn, because I think he was still around when Flynn had started. Despite how you might feel about each and every one of them, their their story writing, really matched up very well with the artistic style that Steven had given. It was truly, it's truly like it was truly the perfect mesh, if you will, of artistic talent and writing talent. Like I said, depending on how you feel about the writers. I mean, going back to the video of Bunnie kicking the wild Robian butt thing that I put up yesterday, that was written by Carl Bowlers. That's Carl with a K, by the way. Carl Bowlers, and Steven was the one that had basically Steven's the one that had basically did the artwork for it, and it just turned out really well because one thing I seem to notice, and I don't know if this was Carl's idea or this was Ken's idea at the time or somebody's. I don't really know who, but at this time, and it it wasn't just it wasn't just it wasn't just let's say Stephen Butler artistically as well. It was things like it was people like Jay Axer as well. But again, I don't know if it was called Bowlers or Ken Penders or maybe both. I don't remember. But this, Bunnie's moment here, in Dust Bunny, if you will, to me was, in fact, let me see if I can bring it up for you guys without any stream interruptions. Let me see if I can bring it up with any stream interruptions as I lower the volume a little bit. Oops, I didn't want to turn it up. I wanted to lower it. Oh, there we go. But again, let's see. Let me see the chart. Oh yeah. Here we go. Sorry about that. Let's see if it's in here somewhere. Again, I do apologize for any stream interruptions. No, hold on. Let me do this. Because I know it's in here somewhere. See, this is what he's talking. I think this was Stephen Butler here as well. So, see, this was Stephen Butler Appreciation Week, and this is what he's talking about because look how he designed some of the characters, good and bad. It was really, like I said, he matured the comic up, is what he did. He matured the comic up in a big way. And this is all the way back, I think, if it pops up here, all the way back, I think, in the 70s, issue 70s, if you will. And then this was like, yeah, this is like around the issue 70s, and then this is, in the Mecha arc and everything, so, Mecha arc. Now, here's what I'm talking about. When I say the one critique he would get is he would sexualize the characters, look at Sally and then kind of look at Bunnie, if you will. And then here's Bunnie right here. But as I was saying, I think it was around this time, whether it was Axer or Butler, whoever was doing the artwork, it seemed around this time that Cole Bowlers and or Kim Penders or both were focusing on Bunnie. They were trying to make her into a badass, if you will, like a solo badass. Like maybe they were planning down the line because Knuckles had gotten a spin-off comic around that time. I think it was coming to a close, but still they saw that hey, he had a spin-off. Sally had a 3-part miniseries. Tails had a miniseries. My thought process, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but my thought process is maybe they were planning to give Bunnie a solo series, maybe even a miniseries of her own, which is why they were giving her all these moments. That's why they were giving her all these moments, which is truly amazing. I mean, when I first saw these, to be honest with you, I was just blown away. I was like, yeah, I like this. I like this side of Bunnie. It's just kicking some booty, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, that's one of the moments he gave her. And then I think he has it in it somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Again, hopefully with no interruptions. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. This is where that clip I did for the Bunnie kicking Roby and butt comes from. This is the story right here. So I can clip it up here real quickly without any interruptions. As you can see, it's called Dust Bunnie, and the story was done by Cole Bowlers, penciler Steve Butler, and all that. So pretty cool. But yeah, they would. Again, this was around the time. This is around the time I think they were trying to make her into her own like character, like get ready to spin her off into her own series, if you will, as you can tell. And this right here, Dust Bunny, is like one of those moments, along with what I showed you with her blowing up that spacecraft, just punching holes into it to it crashed into the ocean. That, along with this, I think was one of the moments, or the signifying moments, in my opinion, to where they wanted Bunny to, break out on her own. Like they wanted to uh, go in the direction they had done with Sally, they had done with Tails, heck, they had done in a way with Knuckles, and that's give her her own like miniseries, maybe her own maybe spin-off comic or something like that. Mostly, I would mostly say maybe miniseries, just based on how they were portraying her here. But excuse me, but again, that's just an opinion. That's just an opinion. But um, yeah, the way they were portraying her here, and in that, and then like I said, as we scroll back up, again, sorry for any interruptions we may get. But as I scroll back up here, find it again. Let me see. Yeah, like right here, this moment right here, basic. Oops, hit the wrong thing. Basically, this here again, like what I just showed you from Dust Bunny, is one of the prime examples, in my opinion, of I think they wanted to try to spin her off on her own. Just by the fact that you see how they positioned her, or they kind of drew it in and kind of basically wrote this scene for her. It's like, yeah, they wanted her to, to be her own thing, or kind of break out on her own. And I think maybe what this was is we see her right there, and then see the end result and everything, and then see her just standing over or flying over it and everything. I think I think the end result of this, I think the reason for this, in my opinion, was they saw what was going on with Rogue at the time, um, and I think this was I think because this was around yeah, they said mid 2000 to early 2006. So uh, so anyway, it was around this time. I know 119 came out way after this. So, well, not way after this, but before this. So this was like what was it, like 130 something? I think it was 130 something, or something like that. Let me see when Sonic 119 came out. And again, I do apologize for any interruptions. 119 came out in January 2003. So that was at the height of the whole X-Men craze, with the live action movies and the revive and kind of the revived interest in the 90s cartoon, as well as the new X-Men Evolution show at the time. A lot of people were gaining interest in X-Men, and I think the focus on Rogue in Evolution, in X-Men Evolution, as well as, like I said, the re-interest in the 90s animated series and people seeing her there, as well as her portrayal in the comics, as well as her getting her own solo comic for a while, which I have several issues of. I think, in my opinion, that is what motivated Carl Bowlers. That's what motivated Ken Penders. That's what motivated them, along with the artistic artwork of a Jay Axer or a Stephen Butler, to focus on Bunny, because when you look at Bunny's outfit, not just in this image here, but in what I just showed you, it's very reminiscent, except for the hat, very reminiscent in a sense to Rogue's initial outfit. She would have the leather jacket over her bodysuit and everything. So very reminiscent of that. The only difference was Rogue didn't have a gun on her, didn't have a what is it, a gun holster around her waist, or a gun on her side, or even a hat. But still, it's like, to me that was like the ultimate. To me, that was like the ultimate in like acknowledgement of, okay, if X-Men can do it, we can do it. Because one of the things people would do is they would compare Bunnie against Rogue. Like basically, there was a lot of similarities with certain characters in the Freedom Fighters to the X-Men sometimes. And Bunnie was like one of those exceptions. And I think more so in the comics than in the Saturday morning cartoon. Because, even though in the Saturday morning cartoon, she got to shine a lot, as a character, as best as she could, showing off her strength and all that, her cybernetics. The comics is where they really took off with her, and again, it seemed to be around the time after we got out of, the 100 issues and all that, and Stephen Butler came on board, and Carl Bowlers and Ken Penders and even Ian Flynn later on. It's like, depending on the story, it was the perfect mesh for them. Like Ian Flynn did 222, that was the perfect mesh, if you will, of artistic artwork. Of like showing, hey, this comic has matured to the point in this relationship between both Sonic and Sally has matured that we need to give it the kind of artwork that is, that is suitable for it, in my opinion. So basically, I think that's why Steve. So basically, I think honestly that's why Steven was brought on board to help. When the story was necessary for it, help show the maturity of the characters in that story, or that you needed the artwork to go along with it. But like I said, with Bunnie, it was like around that time frame, they were primarily focusing on her being like almost like I said, the equivalent of Rogue. I think they were trying to make her the equivalent of Rogue, trying to put her on that same pedestal, if you will. And it got to a point, in my opinion, that I think what I think basically what really triggered it as well, not just the comparison of making her into their own Rogue, but like I said earlier, I think they saw the popularity that she was having, from not just the movies, but from Evolution, the reinterest in the 90s cartoon, but also the fact that they noticed, probably by doing some research, that a lot of people, that when they would do a poll basically of popular characters, that Rogue was always like at the top, like the very top of the character list, like at number one, or at least in the top three or something like that. So they figured, you know what, maybe we can get Bunnie in that same position here with the comics. And for a while, I think honestly they achieved that. I really do, just by having her be portrayed the way she was. Um, but of course, later on they kind of toned it down a little bit. So um, that was kind of cool. So that was all right, in my opinion. They kind of toned it down, tried to get it to where everybody had a moment, if you will, or would have the time in the sun. So I was glad that they kind of toned it down from that perspective. Um, but yeah, there was just that moment, as well. That, not just as well, but there was just that moment, if you will, to where basically it felt like they were trying to position her in that high that high anarchy, if you will, hierarchy, if you will, of characters. Hold on for a sec. I just had to do something. Okay. Like I told you, I may have to. Like I told you in the description, I may have to do that. But yeah, they put her. It seemed they were trying to put her in that hierarchy, if you will, of top tier characters in the comic, if not the franchise overall. But there was something else that I think they were trying to do around this time frame. Because you see, Bunny started to get a lot of this momentum, like I said, around the late 100 teen issues, if you will, like 119 and all that. She started to get all this momentum, and it continued on. It continued on for a while, and excuse me while I get something to drink here. Drinking some Pepsi, like I said earlier, helps me keep going. But like I said, from that time on, if you will, even when they started to get into the Zorda battle and situation there, and then the Sonic in space, and then coming back, and everything. I think what they were trying to do at this time was they were trying to set up, and call me crazy for this, because here's the thing: 121 and 122 was set up to bring Sonic and Sally together, which it did. 120 one was it 121 or 122? No. It's 122 and 123. That's what it was. 122 and 123 was positioned to set was set up to bring Sonic and Sally back together. Um, and then of course 124 is where basically the question was popped. They were engaged, if you will, royal consent, if you will. And then the whole 125 thing, whole 124, the whole, well, yeah, the rest of 124 and the most of 125, that whole thing happened. The whole Sonic in space thing happened. Finding out that, Sonic was not gone a couple of weeks, but a whole year because, where he was a couple of weeks seemingly passed, but on the planet of Mobius, the whole year had passed. Anyway, long story short, he gets back and then he finds out, after he has his issues with Sally and everything. Well, before he has his issues with Sally, he finds out that Antoine and Bunny are no more, and it's like, what happened here? And little did he know, or any of us know, until it kind of got revealed later on in one of Ken Pender's, if not the last story that Ken Penders did, which was Line of Succession, that we found out that the real Antoine had been replaced. Well, actually, we found this out 5 issues later, 5 or 4 issues later, in 150 and 151, when Sonic got replaced temporarily by Evil Sonic, who would go on to be Scourge. Basically, excuse me there. When Sonic got thrown into Scourge's universe, and mistaken for Evil Sonic, if you will, the Patch there, the Evil Antoine, or known as Patch in that universe, we see his thought bubbles, and as soon as you see these thought bubbles, you're like, wait a minute. If that's Antoine, then who's in the other universe? And in this whole situation is when you find out that, and then of course later on, I think in 155 and 156, you find out that Evil Sonic had tossed Patch into Mobius Prime, into Sonic's world, and taken Antoine in his place. And then he did the same thing with himself because, he just wanted to get laid, apparently, if you know what I mean. He just wanted to get laid. Uh, but like I said, it was one of those. Like I said, it was just one of those moments in the comic for a while to where, we see that they're broken up, and again, we don't know why until about 150, 151, and 155 and 156. But it's between that time frame that I think what they were trying to do, because as I mentioned, they were trying to, in my opinion, set her up as being a top tier character. I think they were trying to set her up as a potential love interest for Sonic because of the fact that in 150, she, makes out with who she thinks is Sonic, but it's actually Evil Sonic. And then, um, even after that, when her and Sonic encounter Adam, which is a AI created by Eggman Robotnik, if you will, when they encounter Adam, and Adam tries to stimulate Bunny because she's half robotic, and Sonic has to convince him, hey, she's not robotic completely. She's flesh and blood as well, which basically doesn't compute with Adam, and it makes him logically realize, oh, that doesn't compute. How can that be? And as a result, he releases Bunny. What is the one thing Bunny does? I'll show you. Let me see. I think it's in here. I think it's in here somewhere. Right here. What is it? 152. This is off of Devonon, but this is, yeah, 152. Yeah, what the? It's true. It's 152. This is the issue. And this is what she does. And we're going to pull this up. And yeah, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what happened? Like, what happened? And you can kind of see and then here somebody kind of brings up, I think it's Wake Angel 2001. So you kind of see it right there. And then somebody says here, according to a behind the scenes deal, Sonic was supposed to look surprised, but due to the artist's error, shows him uh, reciprocating. So, so yeah, basically, long story short, I think this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to, because they, like I said, they had positioned Bunny in such a way that they wanted to make her a potential love interest for Sonic. And, you know, thankfully, when, you know, thankfully when, and I think that idea was when, you know, and and it basically, and again, I do apologize for any stream interruptions and all that. Yeah, this is how Sonic right here, I think if we can pull this up, is able to convince Adam that, hey, she's not completely, or, all that, so. And then you get this moment right here, like I said, which, again, I think, honestly, and this was 152, I think this was when Ken was around, or they were going back and forth still. So, let me just favor this. There we go. But again, I think honestly, when Carl Bowles was working on this, and that might have been one of the stories um, that Carl was working on it. I think I'm not really sure. Let me see something. Hold on. Let's see here. 52. Mm. see here. Yeah, well, I think basically the like, and these are all, and so Ken Penders was the one behind this. So Penders was the one that wrote this story. Um, Sorry for the silence. I was just reading it myself. But basically, he was supposed to act surprised, but I think, in my opinion, he said it was a misconception. But I think, in my opinion, the artist was going off of maybe what Carl Bowlers had originally planned to do, if not both. Um, but again, going back to what I was saying, and I know I'm dragging on with this a bit, I do apologize. But I think honestly, they were planning to make Bunny that top tier character, but at the same time, they were probably setting up, until I think Ken came back full time on board. They were trying to set up a Bunny Sonic relationship. That's what I think they were trying to do because you had Sonic with Sally. That was pretty much that was pretty much the thing there. You had Sonic with Fiona, and you kind of teased a little bit that maybe Sonic would be with Amy, maybe not. So the most natural next step, if you take Amy aside, put her aside, if you will, the next natural step would be Bunny Rabbot, which I think they were trying to build towards. Um, in the end, I think that's what they were trying to build towards. In the end, was maybe a Bunny Sonic relationship, and again, Kim Pender says, and this backs up what that one person said on DeviantArt. Pender basically said this was a misconception by the artist that Sonic was supposed to look surprised, like what the heck, because he still had, because at the time in story he was dating Fiona because him and Sally were broken up. Um, so, he would be surprised by this. But I think what the artist, but honestly, this is just my opinion. I think the artist intentionally did it that way. It wasn't no misconception. I think they intentionally did it that way based off, what basically um, Carl Bowlers, in my opinion, not saying this is true, but from what I can tell, Carl Bowlers wanted to do, and I think Ken Penders probably thought about it as well until he realized, nope, I'm not going to do that. It doesn't make sense. Bunny, Bunny should be with Antoine and all that. That's what was penciled in originally, so we're going to go with that. And that's the one thing about Ken Penders, you got to give him credit. Credit for it. At least he realized, wait a minute, this don't make sense. Why would you break off a relationship? And I do apologize for any stream interruptions right now, but that's the entire. But Ken basically, give him credit. He's like, why would you want to break off this relationship? Due to a misunderstanding. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work that way. If you know what I mean. And that's why he came on board. Excuse me, and kind of corrected what was going on. He basically corrected course when it came to the direction Carl Bowlers had taken the book, if you will. Because this is also the same Carl Bowlers, along with Ken Penders at times, that basically put these characters in high school. And I think what Carl wanted to do, and this is why, again, depending on how you view it, Stephen Butler's art always meshed very well. Whoever was doing the artwork always meshed very well. Was he was trying to, like Stephen Butler's artwork and others' artwork at times. I think what Boulders was trying to do, and even Penders tried to do this, and Flynn tried to do this later on. I think in their own separate ways, even though they may not admit this, they were trying to grow the comic up along with the audience. Like they knew the audience was getting older, and they may not be interested in something like this. So they probably said, you know what, um, we need to keep the comic interesting. we need to keep the eyes on the comic. So how do we do that? Oh, I know. Let's mature the characters. Let's put them in more mature setting. Let's put them in more, mature settings to give them more mature storylines. And oh, let's make the artwork look a little bit more mature. And I think that's why, it all worked out kind of in a unique, uh, a unique kind of way, if you will, for the for the comic for the time. So yeah, it was. So yeah, it was really. So again, though, I kind of sounded like I rambled it there for a bit. I do apologize, but yeah, it kind of like it's like one of those moments that when you go back and look at it, when you go back and look at it, it's just one of those moments in the time of the comics run during with Archie Comics that you're like, you have to really think to yourself, and you look at all these moments, you're like, did they really try to make Bunnie and Sonic an item? It made you wonder. And I think, again, my opinion, don't can't say this is true or not, or can't say this is fact or not. But in my opinion, I think honestly, Carl Bowlers wanted to do that. I really do. I mean, you take a look at that. You take a look, I should say, like not even issue two in the high school era, if you will, when they were going into high school. What did Carl Bowlers do? What did Carl Bowlers write into the script? And whoever was doing the artwork at the time, I think it might have been Steven, as well, kind of helping out with more of an anime like in look to it. What did um who did Carl have paired off with Sonic to go scout Robotropolis because he felt something was up? Bunnie. So so why you know but basically the question is why do that? Why pair him off with Bunnie? Why not just keep Bunnie out of the equation and have Sonic sneak off on his own? Why not? Why do that? And in my opinion, if you will, again, I think it's because he wanted to put those two together. But what happened is, my hold on for a sec. Hold on for a sec. Sorry about that. But like I said, I think that's what Cole Bowlers wanted to do. Again, I could be wrong, but it seemed that you look at the fact that one of the first people he had Sonic team up with or pair off with, at right at the beginning of the high school run, if you will, in the books, is Bunnie. You know, there's a lot of focus put onto Bunnie prior to the Zorda um, storyline, especially with Dust Bunny. And then you see how she's focused on the spotlight is thrown on her a little later on, like around what was it, 133, 132, if you will. And and then of course with 152, you got to think that Carl Bowles wanted something to happen, and I think the person that did the artwork in 152 was going off maybe the notes that Carl Bowlers had had given them at one point before Ken came back. You know, and here's the thing: he could have easily corrected this, digitally or not. He could have easily corrected this, but he didn't. He didn't correct this because I think he was still going off of what Carl Bowlers had initially had set out to do. And again, I think what happened is Ken Penders came back and he's like, "This don't make sense. You know, why would you break these characters up? Why would you break them up and everything?" So, and I just got a notification from from Frank Hill. I do apologize for that. Ow. Need to lower the volume on my thing here. There we go. Um, but yeah, um, I think that's what Carl Bowlers had planned, in my opinion. My opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in my opinion, I think that's what he had planned. And that basically got shelved when Ken Penders came back. Not saying Penders probably wasn't on board with it, mind you. Not saying Penders wasn't on board with it, but I think honestly, Penders probably thought like I said earlier, probably thought it didn't make sense that you would end this relationship that at this time, had been over 100 issues in existence. It didn't make sense, I think, to him that you would end this relationship due to a mix-up, so or whatever, or a change in character's attitude because what happened over a year without Sonic being there and things just going, this way or that way. Because initially the idea was Antoine and Bunnie were going to break up because Antoine had a change in attitude, and it's like the year that Sonic was gone, it's like everything just went right down the hill, you know. And I think Penders was like, nope, that ain't gonna work with me. I'm not gonna deal with that. That doesn't make sense. Antoine is, Antoine is, not the kind of person that would do that. And when he came back and he did the stories that were there, if you will, he went along with it until he got to his final issue where it would be the line of succession, and that's when the reveal would be made. So, and that pretty much, I think, when he did line of succession, being, Kim Pender said is, I think when he did line of succession, he pretty much, in my opinion, killed any of the ideas that Carl Bolus had to go that route if he wanted to. Excuse me. But speaking of, over a sec. Um, but basically, what was I trying to say? Oh yeah. But basically, like, okay, I just lost my train of thought there because I got distracted for a moment. Um, yeah, like I said, when Kim Penders came on board, or came back on board, and did what he did, I think when you got to line of succession, that's when any ideas were pretty much Carl wanted to go through with were in shelved indefinitely. They were killed off, if you will. Um, but yeah, I know now. I know, like I said, like I said earlier, I know I've been rambling on this for a while, so I do apologize. But this is just something when you really think about it, especially with the fact that when you go to the Save the Freedom Fighters Facebook page, oh my God, Bunnie's been getting a lot of love lately. She really has, not just from what I've shared video-wise, but from from what other people have from what other people have shared as well, artistically and everything. Um, my hold on for a sec. So yeah, just to close up this before it gets a little too long, because I know some of you are going to think, "Oh, he's dragging on too long. Shut this guy up," Um, but yeah, to me, I think when you really look at it as a whole, from 119 and even way before that, with like 88, 89, and then like I said, 119 and all the way up to about 152, if you will, and in between there with the 130s and everything, and in the images I showed you earlier, I think I think it's no I think it's no doubt in my opinion. I don't think it's any doubt in my opinion um, that he that he basically, or that they basically wanted to make Bunnie into, um, he wanted to make Bunnie, you know, into this next big thing in the comic, basically this third tier, second tier character in the comic, because the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, for any of you guys that are joining up now live, I think basically they saw the popularity Rogue was getting, and they said, "Hey, we got a character that's similar to her. Let's make her a big deal. Let's let's make her a big deal and uh, and see what happens and see what how fans receive her." And to say I think fans received her very well would be an understatement. Because it was good to see a character getting a lot more love than I think some would say she got in the Sad AM series. Not saying that she didn't, but in this case, she did. She did, and that's saying something. Or that is saying something, if you will. But yeah, it's just amazing when you look at these stories, and it is, like I said, just blows your mind. That this is one of the things that they focused on Bunnie about. Right here, like right this moment, and then as we will see a little bit more again, and if we can find it here. Come on, come on, come on. Like right here, again, like these moments right here. These here to me are like some of the signs that, again, as I mentioned earlier, they wanted to make her a big deal. They really did. Um, and I think they did all right. I mean, again, after I think Ken came on board, it kind of died down a little bit because it's like, why would you again focus on a character? Why would you, do break up a couple that he himself had Ken had wrote in a story to be put together himself? Why would you break them up? There was no reason. And the story explanation I think that Ken got, that we all got, was, I guess to him, just didn't make sense. But yeah, I think I've dragged on about this a lot longer than some people expected, but I just wanted to get that off my chest right there about the fact that Bunnie, you know for a while had a big moment in December, because again I'm seeing all this love she's getting in the Save the Freedom Fighters fan page on Facebook, and it just reminds me. And then of course uploading the Say the Word fan vid I did for her, I think it was in the early 2007 or something like that, mid 2007. See, my finger hit the mic there. Um, it just got me wanting to talk about that this specific moment or this specific time in the comics, because again I think it all equivalates to the fact that Rogue was a big deal. Rogue was being looked at as a big deal in the comics and in the X-Men comics, as well as in the movies and the shows. And it's like that I think that's sparked the sparked the motivation that penders and bowlers, mostly bowlers and somewhat penders, had later on to focus on her character more so, and try to put her in that upper echelon, if you will, of the characters of the, not just the comic but the overall franchise. That's just my opinion, and I know I sounded like and I do apologize as we move on here. I do apologize for continuously rambling on about that, but again, like I told you, this is one of those streams where I gotta kind of be careful, if you know what I mean. Doing it as best I can while keeping an eye out for things and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest. But sticking with the comics as well, going back to the Dust Bunny, I think one of the moments that not just Carl Bowlers, but Penders and even Ian Flynn missed in the comics, even before the soft reboot and retcon that we got in 252, I think one of the most crazy moments that they missed out on is turning the Sandblast the Sand City, what was it? Yeah, yeah, it was the Sandblast City freedom fighters, rebels, if you will, into into members of the Eggman Empire. I think they really missed out on that moment by turning them into Dark Egg Legionnaires or part of the Eggman Empire. I think they really missed out on that. And here's why. You see, when they got first introduced, I think in what, the early 60 issues, if you will, the early 60th issues, um, basically they were looked at as people that worshipped Sonic because he was a hero, but later on it's revealed that they're not the typical kind of freedom fighters that they're meant to be. That instead they're freedom fighters that are out for themselves and not anybody else. And that instead of doing things the right way, like what we see with the Wolf Pack and the Knothole Freedom Fighters and all that, they instead decided to do things in a very mercenary kind of way. So to me, when I look at the Sandblast City Freedom Fighters, rebels, if you will, like I said, I look at a moment missed by Ian Flynn, Ken Penders, and Carl Bowlers, to where they could have had these characters denounce their allegiance to the freedom fighters and pronounce their allegiance to the Eggman Empire, because it's like, you have this group of freedom fighters that, unless the world, like as we see in 125, 124, or mostly 125, when we see the world, unless the world is like completely at stake, most of the time they're only going to be out for themselves. And in my opinion, I think they missed out on a big moment here, because there was various times I would read the issues of the comic, and I'd be like, when is this going to happen? When is this moment going to happen? And it seemed that Ian might have been leaning towards that. He might have been leaning towards that, even before the Mecha Sally situation. He might have been leaning towards that, but we never saw any fruition. We never saw any culmination of that happening. But it seemed like more so out of any of the three writers I just mentioned, he seemed to be the one more like focused, or more maybe willing to do that. Because Ian, he took characters like Tommy Turtle and a few other characters that only appeared like a few times, and he killed them off because that was part of his spring cleaning when he came on board. So I thought maybe if anybody's going to do it, it's either kill these characters off or make them fully turn against the freedom fighters and join the empire. It was going to be Ian, and like I said, I think he was probably planning to do that even before the Mecha Sally situation happened, but nothing came of it. My assumption is he was probably going to go follow through on it after the Mecha Sally arc, but because of everything that happened behind the scenes, that got shelved. It got shelved and everything, so he couldn't do anything about it. But yeah, they missed out on the opportunity, because here's the thing: the closest, they got to this, in my opinion, was with, what was it? What issue was it? It was the issue that the cover said "Bunnie Gone Bad," or with that question on it, like "Bunnie Gone Bad." Let me see here. see. No, it's in here somewhere. No, it's in here somewhere. Hold on. Trying to find it here. Just my finger here. I just touched the mic there with my fingers. Here we go. Here it is. This is what I'm looking for. It's 218. So I think the previous one is 217. Nope. No, no, no. Get back there. Oh, it's 216, I think. Nope. 270. Yeah, I think it's 218, I think. You had two covers, I think. I'm not really sure. Oh, it wasn't the Bunnie Gone... Oh, no, no, no. The Bunnie Gone Bad thing was the Iron Dominion arc. That's what it was. But this one here... like I said, 218 and 219... Oh, 218 and 217, I should say. It's thicker than water. Basically... basically, it's kind of like the roles are reversed to where, it's basically like the Dark Egg Legion in that sector led by Bunnie's uncle is kind of the good guys. The reluctant good guy is the good guys, but basically the reluctant bad guys. And the Sandblast Freedom Fighters are the good guy, are the reluctant good guys, but the bad guys. Kind of that kind of situation. And to me, 217 and 218, 217 and 218, in my opinion, was a missed opportunity, if you will, to really kind of be like, plant the seeds, if you will, for the Sandblast Freedom Fighters, Sandblast City Freedom Fighters to be the new Dark Egg Legion there. But we saw nothing come to fruition about it. But my opinion, as I believe, in my opinion, I could be wrong, is that maybe Ian was going to follow through on that later on. He was going to follow through on it with the comic had the behind the scenes issues not occurred. So I think honestly he was going to follow through. I really do. Not saying he was going to, but I think when you plant the seeds, basically, of the fact that you have a Dark Egg Legion, if you will, that's kind of like, it's basically the real freedom fighters of that sector of Mobius, and your freedom fighters of that same sector is pretty much the Dark Egg Legion, but the roles are reversed. I think the seeds were planted, in my opinion. I think the seeds were definitely planted, and again, I'm surprised they didn't fall through on it. kind of surprised by that. But hopefully maybe with these fan comics that are happening, from Archie Sonic Online and a few others that like who was the one guy I talked about? Oh, if you will, if I can find that one. Hold on, let me see if I can find that. I know I did a recommendation video on it. Let me see. Yeah, the Sonic Retold by Glitcher's Sonic Retold. Along with web comics like that, or fan retelling comics like that. Maybe we might get a story down the line to where the freedom to where maybe by their own hands the Sandblast City Freedom Fighters will go over to the Dark Egg Legion side, and the Dark Egg Legion will be like, fine, you can have all you want, you can be his sub bosses all you want. We're gonna go and do it the right. We're gonna handle things the right way. And here's my opinion. One of the things that RC Sonic Online is doing is they're basically um, doing their own continuation of the comics, right from where 247 left off, as well as where the last issue of Sonic Universe left off, in some way, both pre and post soft reboot. And mostly with Sonic Universe, they're doing the uh, the post, soft reboot versions. But the pre-soft reboot, they have a story focusing on Bunnie, because I think it was hinted at that the Sonic Universe arc that was going to happen, you know, before the whole behind-the-scenes issues went down, the next Sonic Universe arc was going to be about Bunnie. I think that's what was going to happen, and since it didn't, Archie Sonic Online, I think, decided, okay, we'll do that. We'll handle it. We'll take care of it. And that's what they're doing. And I think maybe once they get that issue done, whenever they do, or at least get to that point, that that'll be the issue, even from a fan continuation standpoint. That'll be the issue that basically, finally addresses the situation of, hey, these Sandblast City Freedom Fighters rebels are more Eggman Legionnaires or Dark Eggman Legionnaires than Freedom Fighters, so let's just have them switch. So maybe that might happen, maybe it won't, I don't know. But we'll see. And I do apologize, guys, for any lags that you might be experiencing. I think YouTube's been having issues lately. It says it's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, so I do apologize for the lags if my voice is kind of distorted and all that. But yeah, to me, they missed out on a great opportunity, because from a story perspective, that would have been tremendous, in my opinion. I mean, because we've seen stories to where, even during the Ken Penders run, we've seen characters. I mean, they even did this in one of the main stories that was served as a flashback about the first group of freedom fighters and everything. That tried to oppose Robotnik when like Sonic and them were kids. But it turned out that one of their members was a traitor because he was a snake after all. Well, when I look at that story, and then I look at stories like from previously with you know what was it, Snoop Doggy Dog, or whatever the character's name was, a playoff Snoop Dogg, if you will, as well as a few others like what was that guy character's name that betrayed the Wolfpack and tried to frame Hershey for Sally's death and all that. I can't think of his name right now, but basically we'd seen in a lot of the stories, especially written by Ken and even some by Carl, that freedom fighters that felt like, hey, we're fighting a losing battle, I'd rather be on the winning side, would defect over to the Eggman Empire. And they would always treat it somewhat, even though it wasn't much of a known character that much. Or it wasn't, well, yeah, even though it wasn't, what I'm trying to say is, even though it wasn't a character that was known as much by fans, they still treat it like a big deal. So, in my opinion, had you taken an entire group that was supposed to be freedom fighters, but they were kind of the more mercenary, like they don't give a blank kind of deal group, and had them defect, I think that would have been a bigger deal because now you would see the influence that Eggman it has to where now he, not the original Robotnik, but he, the new Robotnik, if you will, has so much influence that he's able to convert an entire group over to his side. A group that you would expect it to convert to that side anyway from the beginning, if you know what I mean. But yeah, to me, they missed out on an opportunity. They really did. They really, truly missed out on an opportunity. And, again, hopefully somebody can work that out in the future. Hopefully they can work that out in the future, if you will, with some of these fan projects down the line. But can't say any more than that. Really can't. Um, I will say this. Speaking of the Archie books, I'm hoping something gets worked out in the end. Because I don't know how long it took IDW to work something out with Nickelodeon and Archie to distribute in collector volumes all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventure comics. But I'm hoping they work something out with Archie Comics and Sega to where they can do the same thing for Sonic. Because, you know, IDW has proven that you can have your own version of the Turtle comics, various versions, but that doesn't mean you can't make a little money off of the original versions or versions people know better than better than any other version. Mainly like better than the original Mirage versions. And to me, I think IDW really needs to look into, doing this. They need to look into starting to uh, piece together all these collector issues, if you will, all these collector issues in not collector issue, but collection volumes and selling them. Now I know some people might say, well, IDW financially can't do that. Well, they can do that. They can do that. I think honestly, you hear all this hoo-ha about IDW and DC and Marvel and all them comic book wise, they're pretty much on death's door. They're not on death's door, okay? It's just the way it's worded sometimes. You got to realize this about the news. No matter what the situation, they always try to make it sound a lot more worse than what it is. And sometimes justifiably so, but most times over exaggerated. And I think when you look at headlines of, oh, comic books are dying a slow death or they're going to be no more soon, that's just over exaggeration because what they do is they do this to get you to buy the comics. That's why they do it. They do that to get you to go out and buy the comics or go online and buy the comics. That's why they say that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean the comics are going to die and all that. It doesn't mean that. It just means they're trying to get you to buy the comic, and that's it. That is completely it, if you will. But yeah, to me, I think IDW could do this, and I think IDW can afford. Believe it or not, they can work out a deal, and they can. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, I think IDW can work out a deal to where they can get this to happen. They can license out the stories that involve Ken's characters as well as his stories and Carl's stories and anybody else's stories. They have the money to do that. They can work out a deal to make that happen. And I think when it's all said and done, they're going to have bestsellers they will have bestsellers on their hands. I really do. They will have, bestsellers, on their hands. And they need to think about doing that. They need to think about going that route. True, it's not going to, true, okay, what I'm trying to say is true. It's not going to be 16 volumes that 77 or 75 issues, or 72 issues, I should say, or was it 73 issues? 73 issues of TMNT Adventures was able to give them. It's going to be a lot more, but still, it'll be worth it. Archie Comics, from a trade paperback perspective, gathered all the issues, all the earlier issues in black and white collection editions, big old books, if you will, and sold them, and they sold well. So to me, if IDW can do something similar, put them in, basically remaster them, basically, you know, reprint them and everything, and put them in that same kind of way to where maybe they could get to 16 volumes, but they're bigger collection books, and give them a price tag that's worthy of that. I think they will sell out. I think people will enjoy, will buy them up. And honestly, it would be a great testing ground for IDW to potentially see how people would feel about the freedom fighters being brought into the group or being brought into the comic if they're able to distribute these huge collections down the line of the original Archie run. And again, all they have to do is take a page out of what Archie Comics did and get those massive uh, books and basically get enough issues to put together for a massive book. Mainly, like, let's say the first 25 issues, the first 30 issues, if you will, clam them together in one big book, and there you go. It will work. I mean, think about it. 30, 30, you got 60 out of 2 volumes. Another 30, you got 90 out of 3, 120 out of 4, 150 out of 5, 180 out of 6, 210 out of 7, 240 out of 8, you know, what was it, 270 out of 9, 3, you know, you know, and 9, you would have 9 volumes. 9, and then what? And then what? What? Okay, what was I? What was I saying? Oh yeah. I mean, you have 30 in one collectors, 6, and then 30 in, like, look at this. I mean, not the, well, visualize this, if you will. First collection volume has 30, second has 30, third has 30, that's 90, fourth has 30, that's 120, 150 out of 5 volumes. You have the first 150 issues. Sorry, my finger hit the mic there. But you have the first 105 issues in 5 big collector volumes, and then 180 in 6, if you will, and then 210 in volume 7. Volume 8 would be 240. Volume 9 could be up to 270, and then volume 10 completes it. So you can do 10 volumes, 10 mega volumes, if you will, collector edition wise, of the original Archie run. If you're IDW can make a lot of money off that, and I think they know that. The only thing that's holding them back right now, if you will, is the whole licensing issue with Archie Comics. But I think, well, not just Archie Comics, but with the people that wrote the books. But I think honestly they can get around that. I think honestly they can get around that, and they know it. I think honestly they can get around that, and they know it. I think they can get around that, and they know it. But all they have to do, is work out a deal. They work out a deal with these guys like Penders, Bowlers, whoever else, and I think they're good to go. So I think they're good. I think that's what they should do. I think that's honestly what they should do. But yeah, you want to see how people will react to, let's say, Sally and Bunnie and all them being in the IDW verse? Do that, and I bet you anything you'll get a positive if I'm IDW. Bet you anything to get a positive reaction. Told you about interruptions. Yeah. Sorry about that. Don't know if you heard that. I don't think you did. But yeah, she's got a little. She's got a little to learn about baseball and still and everything. You know what I'm saying? Still got a lot to learn. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. What was I? Oh yeah, IDW can make a lot of money off of that. Yeah. 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 See what I mean? I think he likes it. So I say just a mic here a little bit. Hold on. Yeah, sorry about that. But like I said, IDW, I think, in my opinion, can honestly make a lot of money off of, you know, off of the, doing collections like that. And if they do it in a big book kind of way, like, Archie did originally when they would put together a lot of the classic ones, like the first several issues, I think up to like, what was it? What did they do up to about to 25 or something? And I know I got them packed away somewhere. I have to look later. I think they did up to 25 or something. I think honestly, if they did that, IDW, and they did it in color, kind of like better, like maybe put it in glossy paper or whatever, which a lot of comics do anyway nowadays. I think they can sell out well. I think they can sell well, and just going off what I said, they can get 10 volumes out of that. That'd be great. That'd be tremendous. 30 issues each. You can get 10 volumes out of that. It's not a big deal. You can even get 12 volumes depending on how they work it. They can get, I'll put it this way, they can get 10 to 15 volumes out of that. That'll be something. And again, it's a great testing ground to see how fans would react um, to fans. Um, what I'm trying to say is it would be a great testing ground to see how they would feel fans would react to seeing the freedom fighters in the comics or in the IDW verse. So, honestly, if I'm IDW, I go that route. I really do. I go that route. And if I go that route, I guarantee you it's going to sell. It will sell. And I think they know that. And I think Sega, not just of Japan, but Sega of America knows that. They know it will sell. They know it will. Um, and speaking of IDW, what's funny is one of the places that I talked about here on YouTube called PAL Comics. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know who they are. One of the newest stories they have, I'm not going to say much about it, but let's just say the person who commissioned it to be done at PAL Comics basically wrote themselves into the story, at least the introduction of it. And let's just say they were not thrilled with the metal virus. They were not thrilled with it. And honestly, I don't think anybody can blame them. I mean, I know some people give it some praise and everything and say, hey, this is good, this is great and everything. But you can tell that over time it started to wear out its welcome. And especially with, with what a lot of us were going through last year and at the tail end this year, honestly, I don't think you can blame anybody for, at first probably being cool with it, but then looking back on it and be like, yeah, maybe that wasn't the best story to continue doing what we were going through. So, um, yeah, if I'm IDW, uh, I know you're gonna probably. If I'm IDW, honestly, I take Ian Flynn aside. I take Evan Stanley aside, and I basically tell him, yeah, if you ever pull something like this again, we're not gonna let you write another Sonic comic for a while because we don't want this. We don't want another reminder. We don't want anything like this anymore. So, so yeah, this one person, um, Let me see if I can. I don't want to. I don't want to look it up like that. But yeah, somebody. Well, basically, this person, like I said, he just did not like the book, especially with everything that we went through. Again, look, the story had its good points here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think when people look back on it now, it's going to be like, yeah, it was good when it first started, but it dragged on, and boy, did it really hit home during last year. And I think that's where people are going to be like, okay, Ian, never do something like this again, please. So, I think so. Yeah, I think right now fans are kind of glad that Ivan took over for a bit. I mean, excuse me, Ian is coming back, if not, he's back already. But I'm sure a lot of fans are glad Ivan took over because it seems that with her stories, they seem a little bit more better in a way. They seem a little bit more better. And speaking of female writers, and I mentioned this before in the video. You go back to the Archie book. What's funny is, like I said, I mentioned this in a video. Because somebody brought it up to me. It's the fact that when Ian Flynn did the Mecha Sally arc and did what he did to Sally, the ironicness of it is that after they did the post reboot, soft reboot, after they did the post soft reboot, soft retcon, you know what happened? A lot of Sally's stories, a lot of Bunnie's stories, a lot of Nicole's stories, Amy's, if you will, Cream's. Basically, a lot of the female centric stories were written or co written by by a female writer. Mostly, I think, Elia Baker, Ian's wife, I believe. They were mostly written by her or another female writer. And I think the reason was, according to, and I think going back and remembering, trying to remember what the person said, the reason basically this happened was mainly because of the fact that Sally, despite how people felt about her, was looked at as it was looked at as such an iconic um, hero character or heroine character. That she was looked at in such a way by not just people that grew up on the comic, grew up on SatAM, but even the newer generation that was getting into the comics and even starting to watch SatAM for the first time. That when this happened, it upset a lot of people. It upset a lot of those kind of people. Even though some people will say it was for the best, and some people thought it was good, and I'll admit this arc had times had good moments. What they did to her basically was, from what this person said, was not very well. Was not very well received. Like the stories might have been good, but this was not very well received. And they and the reason they pointed out was mainly because of the fact that she was put through a lot of abuse in the story. It's like she was, some would say mutilated and rebuilt into what she was. This happened, that happened. It's like it just did not sit well with them. Even though some would say the stories were good, it just did not sit well. No, what I was getting back, let me answer this question right here with that person. What I was trying to say is they could talk to Ken, and Ken being a guy of business, I think would be willing to talk if they worked out some kind of deal. That's my opinion. But that's what I was trying to say. That they could work out some kind of deal with him, Carl Bowlers and anybody else. I think they'd be good. But anyway, getting back on topic, I was saying is that a lot of people they did not like what happened here. They did not care for it. Even though the stories to them were good, and again, like I said, there were some moments in there that were good. It's what happened to the character that just didn't really sit very well, according to what this person told me. And this is why basically I think Glitcher is going the route that he's going, if you will. He's basically retelling, these same stories, these same issues, but with a more darker tone and with more consequences. And I think the direction Glitcher's going is he's going to have Sally get her free will back, in his interpretation, and then she's going to try to take out, if not murder, Dr. Eggman for what he did to her. So, or what he caused her to do. So, so we'll see. But yeah, this story was done in such a way that a lot of people have either rewritten it to go a different direction or or have rewritten it to go in a different direction or bring it to a close. And it's, yeah, it's just one of those moments to where, again, I know I sound repetitive, but a lot of people may have felt that the story was good in some aspects, but what happened to the characters along the way, mostly with Sally, it didn't sit well with people. It didn't. So yeah, apparently Ian Flynn deciding, hey, I'm gonna roboticize Sally and I'm gonna turn her into a mechanized, weaponized robot, if you will, or she-bot, if you will, pretty much backfired on him, if you will. Pretty much backfired and pretty much led to him having to now just focus on the whole stories instead of, all the stories, if you know what I mean. But speaking of Sally and all of them, um, I think honestly there's a good chance we're going to see him in Sonic Prime. I really do. I know that some images, concept art by one of the people working on the series has been shown online. But I think honestly, you know, what we saw in those concept arts is not everything. I think legitimately we're going to get more down the line the closer we get to 2022, which I think is going to be the biggest year for Sonic in a while. We get to 2022, I think the more closer we get to it, the more we're going to find out about what this show is going to be about. I mean, we know we're going to get alternate versions of Amy and Tails and Knuckles and all of them and Eggman. That's pretty much a given. But what about other characters? You see, we don't know the whole scope just yet. We don't know the whole scope just yet. And I think Zidavia, I think that's her name, Zidavia or Zidea or Tara Strong, I think could be a good voice for Sally if they bring her in. Or, if they are fortunate enough to get Cat Sushi, that'd be even better. But I think Tara Strong or Zidavia, the one that's doing Lola Bunny's voice in Space Jam New Legacy, I think would be good options for them to go with, in my opinion. I think they would be really good options, in my opinion. But again, if they get Cat Sushi, that right there to me is a huge coup, if you will. It's a huge coup, in my opinion. If they can get her, it'd be a huge coup. Um, as and as far as Sonic in 2022 goes, and Sonic Prime, um, I'm looking forward to it. Just based off the concept art and everything, I'm looking forward to it because I know that, like I said, that's not everything. That's not everything just yet, and that we're going to get more and more as time goes on. I really do. I think we get a lot more, guaranteed, a lot more. And as I mentioned, I think as we get closer, more is going to get. about that. Told you, like I said in the description, there was going to be interruptions. But like, what was that? Oh yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, that concept art, that's not everything. There's going to be a lot more. We're going to get, obviously, like I said, we're going to get alternate versions of Amy. We're going to get alternate versions of Tails, but we're going to get and of Knuckles and Eggman. But we're going to probably get more. We're going to get alternate versions of Blaze. We're going to get them all. But I also think we're going to get the Freedom Fighters too. In some capacity, we're going to get them, and I think that will open the door. You know, I really think it will open the door for them. Down the line, and along with the movie, and speaking of 2022, I was trying to say, I think it's going to be a big year because you got that coming, you got the movie coming, which I plan to see in theaters, and who knows what that's going to lead towards because apparently if this movie becomes a huge success like the other one did, you know, you got a third movie probably in the works, if not already in the works. Excuse me. Can you imagine what this movie or how that movie will lead into it? You know, like I said, can you imagine, how that movie will lead into it, if you will? It, it'll be amazing. And again, we can only guess exactly what the ending of that movie will be like post credit wise. Because this one, post credit wise, mid and post credit wise, involved Tails and showing us Eggman on another planet, on the Mushroom Planet, getting ready to trying to find a way to get back to Earth. So you have to think to yourself, how's this one going to post credit or mid credit us? And I think the post credit is we're going to probably see. I'd say we're probably going to see Shadow. I really do. Either Metal Sonic or Shadow is going to be. Mostly, I would. Well, if Metal Sonic's going to be in this one, I would say it's going to be Shadow. It's got to be Shadow and Rouge in the post credit scene. And I think in the mid credit scene, we'll probably get Amy. But if they really want to expand on the lore, we're going to get Sally. One of those two. So something just tells me it's going to be one of those two. And to be a wild card, I'm not going to be surprised if they, you know, go and throw Sally in there instead of Amy. Because they might have both show up, in the post credit scene. Who knows? You know. So, um, so yeah. So that could happen. I said at one time during a video I did after I got off work, while I was waiting for the bus. I said that one of the things I could picture is Sally coming out of a silhouette in the shadows after talking to Sonic and Tails, and boom, there she is coming up on the screen. Or I could see both two silhouettes talking to them, both female, and then they both walk out, and one's Amy, and then boom, following her, the other's Sally. So I could see that happening, and I could see again a post-credit scene being the reveal of maybe Shadow and Rouge showing up. Because if you want to expand on this universe, that's one way of doing it. To me, an ultimate wild card that'd be out of nowhere is if they threw Blaze in there, instead of those that I mentioned, or at least in one of those credit scenes, or post-credit scenes, I could see him throwing Blaze in there instead of, let's say, a Shadow or Rouge or Sally and Amy. I could see that. And that would really surprise people. But we'll see. We'll see. It all depends on the success of the second movie, which I think is going to be a success. We'll see what happens. And speaking of 2022, we know we have a new game coming. And a lot of people from Sonic Show to many others are reporting that it's going to be, just based off that little trailer we got, that it's going to be known as Sonic Rangers. But the question is, what is Sonic Rangers going to be? Is it going to be a multiplayer game to where you, along with along with some friends, either online or locally, play as four different characters on a mission? Or is it going to be like Sonic Adventure? Because a lot of people are thinking this might be Sonic Adventure 3. And if it's not, and it's similar to, let's say, Generations, or even Sonic Adventure in a sense, or Sonic Adventure 2 in a sense, um, could we see certain stages having to be played by different characters? Not just, Sonic and classic Sonic, but maybe Sonic and then maybe Tails and then Amy. Is that something we're going to get? We don't know. Another question is, are we going to see Tangle and Whisper make their console debut in that game? Will we see that, or will we finally see Sally show up and you know have the hash and finally realize that the hashtag Rally for Sally campaign paid off? We don't know. We really don't know. But right now, just based off what some people are trying to pick off from that little trailer, that little teaser, it almost feels like to a lot of them because they all feel because they here's the thing, Sonic Show has pointed out a lot of evidence that this is going to be Sonic Rangers, based based off the evidence given, and the teaser trailer supporting it. But we can't say that if that's true or not. All we can say honestly, all we can say honestly is, from what it looks like, this is going to be a game that will be, I would hope, multi-platform, multi-console, if you will. And that being not just the PS5 and the Xbox Series X or Series S, but the Xbox One, the PS4, and the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch OLED, or OLED, if you will. Hopefully, as well as PC. So hopefully, it's a multi-platform game, which I think it will be, and it's not just you know released on certain consoles because of the graphic capability. Um, But whatever the case may be, it looks like with the planning for 2022 to culminate with Sonic Prime on Netflix and with the movie coming out in theaters is, in my opinion, I get this feeling that they're planning to make this a big deal. Like this is going to be like the Sonic game that reinvigorates and once again reboots the franchise. Because a lot of people look at Sonic Adventure as being the game that rebooted the franchise for a modern era, going into the 2000s and the 21st century. This game right here, I have a feeling they're going to try to build up to be the one that takes us to that next level, that basically reinvigorates and reboots the franchise once again for a newer generation 20 years after the 22 years after the first, or 23, is it? Yeah, 23. Yeah, 23 years after the first game that did it. So I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. I really do. And if I'm wrong, and I do apologize for any lag there, just that a bit of a loading circle right there, that little blue loading circle. But yeah, I cannot I cannot wait to see what this game's going to be about. I know that the closer we get to it, or the closer we get to 2022, just like with the movie and just like with Prime, we're going to get more evidence. We're going to get more detail. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But hopefully, it's good. And again, I've got a feeling that this Sonic Rangers, if that's what it's called, it could be called something else. It could be Sonic Adventure 3 for all we know. Um, I've got a feeling that they're going to build this up as being the next big game that reboots the franchise and reinvigorates interest in the Sonic games more so than ever, and basically becomes the new bar that is set for future Sonic titles to try to surpass in the future. So we'll see. But yeah, that's about all I'm going to really say. Oh yeah, one last thing to kind of follow up on a video I did. Uh, while if I'm Wild Brain, who basically owns the distributing rights of the Deek, the DIC Deek Entertainment Sonic shows, if I'm them, I get somebody to reorganize how they're structured. I mean, they're doing it all right with Sonic Underground, but there's still a lot of a lot of mumbo jumbo going around, a lot of you know confusion. So if I'm them, I basically get somebody to try to playlist those episodes for adventures in Sonic's ADM, and along with it, well, what I'm trying to say is, I would get somebody. I was just a little checking something right there. That's why I got distracted. But like I said, if I'm Wild Brain, I'm doing all right with Sonic Underground in a playlist. But because all the other episodes are mumble jumbled, if you will, that scrambled around, if you will, I get somebody to get in there and organize the episodes to where you do a playlist for Sonic Saturday where it's season one and season two, with their own playlist, and then do the same thing with Adventures. And once you do that, along with some of the other shows that they got on their channels, it'll be a lot easier for people to diverse and look through to watch, certain episodes that they want to watch. And yeah, you know, I think I think that would be the best thing for them to do. The same thing with Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus, along with making a deal with WildBrain, has the streaming rights to stream all the Sonic shows. So if I'm Paramount, I get somebody to do the same thing there, reorganize and correctly put the episodes for Adventures, Underground, and Satyam in order. And again, you do that, it'll be a lot easier. But like I said in that video, the one thing that I think they did right for season two of Saturday M is they put Blast of the Past Part One. The only thing they didn't do was put Part Two into it. And the reason I say that is I'm still of the belief that season two should have started with Blast of the Past. That's what I think. Season two of Sonic Saturday M should have started with Blast of the Past. Either as an hour-long special or as a two-parter, because that basically, even though takes place in season two, it it sets up basically it sets up essentially what the conflict of that the freedom fighters are currently dealing with. It shows you how it all happened and everything. And in my opinion, when you really think about it, and this will be the last thing I talk about before I close this down for a bit, when you really think about it, um, like I said, when you really think about it, basically, uh, hold on, I want to do something here for a second. Like I said, when you think about it, a lot of people theorize exactly, what happened with Blast of the Past, especially at the ending. And to me, supports why I think it should be its own. It should have been not its own, but it should have been the premiere. Because of the fact that you have Sonic and Sally going back in time to try to stop Robotnik, and of course they fail in doing so because Sonic's thinking of chili dogs instead of the time and place they need to appear in. And basically, it makes you wonder if essentially, from a story perspective, if, because it's alluded to that Rosie, even in the past, knows the grown up Sally is Sally. There's no denying that. So you have to wonder if maybe, you know, everything that happened in that episode, that, you know, Robotnik's sudden hatred for Sonic and everything, that mainly, from a theory perspective, the grown up versions of them went back in time to make that all happen, and thus resulted in what we see today, or what they have to deal with in their continuity in the present time. People theorize that all the time. Like, even with the episode, even when the episode aired initially, I'm sure a lot of people theorized that. And then even afterwards with the internet and everything, there's a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, are thinking, wait a minute. So they went to the past, they encountered their young selves. Rosie knew who Sally was, or knew who they were. So what the heck's going on? You know, and all of a sudden, Robotnik has this hatred for for Sonic. Where did that and well, not suddenly, but you always wonder, in context of Sonic SATM, you're wondering where Robotnik's hatred for Sonic come from, and then you're like, you see this, and you're thinking, did Sonic and Sally go to the past and cause Robotnik to have a hatred for Sonic? You know, stuff like that. It's kind of like one of those theories of, so basically the mysterious people that started the war against Robotnik as freedom fighters that saved the kids, saved the kids, saved the future of Mobotropolis and of the planet, was was actually Sonic and Sally, and they remember that they did this, but maybe over time the memories faded because you know because of the fact that we noticed later on and it was a Druid Hedge when Sonic tries to vouch for Tails that, hey, I used to go on solo adventures when I was 10, and Sally's like, yeah, without permission. It makes you think that, you know, that basically what they did, them remembering what they did, faded away and got replaced by these new memories that kind of, I guess you could say, is similar to what happens, or at least is alluded to, in the issues of the post Sonic soft retcon reboot. Makes you wonder. It's one of those things that, like, you think back to the future kind of deal, and like how certain things in the past can affect the future, either positively or negatively. I think it's kind of like what you get here. It's like Sally saving Rosie, or telling Rosie don't leave Knothole and everything, and that that promise is kept by Rosie to where when they go back to the future, Rosie's there and everything, and it's like you have to wonder, that as kids, if that the memories of them being saved as kids is of them doing it, or those memories of them being saved as kids are the ones that replace the original memories, and the memories they made of saving themselves get faded out. It's one of those situations that when you look at this episode, it's like you know when you look at this episode from both parts, and afterwards you start to appreciate what exactly why people consider it to be a very very good episode, because of all the theorizing that gets thrown in there, if you will. But yeah, Blast of the Past, to me, right now Paramount Plus has the first part of the first episode of season two. They really want to correct it. All they have to do is put the second part after it, then go Game Guy, then go Spy, then go Game Guy, Sonic Conversion, No Brainer, Fed Up with Antoine, On Ghostbusted, Void, Odd Couple Rebecca, and then the Doomsday four-parter, and they're good to go. They're good to go. You start big, you end big, if you know what I mean. Um, but yeah, hopefully they can get somebody, both them and Wildbrain, can get people separately to reorganize, a lot of these episodes that are out of order, that are scrambled about, and, put them in their own individual playlist over time. But that's really all I'm going to say, guys, in this live stream. Just chilling here on this Tuesday, talking about some Sonic and all that. Sorry again for the interruptions, if you will. I told you in the description it was probably going to happen, and it did. So, um, just like I said, just wanted to come on here, do a little bit of discussion on Sonic, give you my thoughts on it, and that's really about it. So let me know how you guys feel about it. Thank you to those joining me in the live chat. Really, really enjoyed you. Thank you for all the likes, guys. Really liked it. 10 likes. That's probably the most I've ever gotten on a live stream in a while. And continue getting those likes up even afterwards. I would really appreciate it. But yeah, can't say any more than what I have. So till next time, guys. Again, I can't say any more than what I have. And just a lot of stuff to talk about. Just chill. Cut the breeze, if you will. Just talking Sonic and all that. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. Like the video, as I said. Thank you to those that joined me in the live chat. Really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a good day. Take care. Get vaccinated if you can, if you choose to do so. I know there's some that don't want to, and that's their choice. But just consider it if you want on for the safety of others, maybe. But really, that's all I'm going to say, guys. So till next time, God bless. Take care. And really, that's all I can say. And until next time, um, I am. Hold on. Sorry about that. Like I said, that's an example of interruptions that I told you about. So again, she's learning. It just takes time. You know what I'm saying? It just takes time. But again, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. Thank you all for joining me in the live chat. And like the video, guys. And I